We're Katie
and Ilana,
the co-owners of Goodtype, and this is the Typecast.
We're two self-employed lettering artists who met by sliding into each other's DMs.
And now we're sliding into your headphones to talk about typography, how to run an art business, and everything in between.
What's good?
Typography.
Good type.
Business stuff.
What's good?
Kerning.
Good type.
Letting.
What's good?
Serifs.
Good type.
Sans serifs.
What's good?
Saying words.
Good type.
About drawing words.
We have our little teas. Oh, it's so cute.
We do.
It's
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's our first podcast episode.
To our first podcast. Cheers with tea.
With our favorite tea. Okay. Should we do it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool.
Hi, welcome to the Typecast.
Welcome. We're so excited.
We're podcasters now.
We're podcasters. It's official. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
You're in for a wild ride.
It's going to be wild. Here's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Everything type and business related.
All of it.
All of it. Anything you can think of, type and business. We're going to dive into all the topics, how to make money, how to really get those Bezier curves tight to make sure they slap.
Yeah, we're going to podcast explain how to set your anchor points.
Yeah, no, but
just kidding.
We'll be talking with each other. We'll be talking with industry leaders, and we're going to have a good time. I think we'll have some laughs.
Yeah, we'll definitely have laughs. We should probably tell them who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Ilana, and I am one half of Goodtype. And
I'm
my partner in
the other
crime.
half.
Yeah, you are.
My name's Katie.
And it's going to be fun. I think we're going to have a good time together. We got started because we both were lettering artists. We have traditional backgrounds in graphic design. And we started working together, 5 years ago?
Somewhere around there.
After I slipped into her DMs.
Like you do.
Like you do. And then we merged our business with Goodtype. Long story short, I guess.
Yeah. That's pretty much the abbreviated version that you need to know. We keep this on a need-to-know basis.
And we just want to create a wonderful space where creatives can come and connect with other people, learn skills, and walk away with actionable, tangible tools to grow their business.
Yeah, we both set out, we were art directors after we graduated, and we both started our own businesses, like making greeting cards and doing freelance work. And when we started our businesses, we were like researching and trying to find all this information about how to run an art business, and there wasn't a lot.
Not a lot. A lot of Google searching, a lot of deep dives. We got really good at like internet sleuthing, and we figured we should share what we learned.
Yeah. We both just really believe it's super important to spend your life doing something you enjoy doing. That's like the key pillar for both of us, I think, is just to be happy and do something you're passionate about with your time, and to be able to make a living doing that work is just, there's nothing better.
Nothing better. But also, it doesn't matter if you just want to like grow your creative career skill set or if you want to do this full time. Like, everyone's welcome here, and we'll touch on things that will benefit you both as a hobbyist, as a full-time creator, as an art director, as a freelancer, agency owner, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think everything applies to...
All are welcome.
All are welcome. So we're excited to dive in. And then today's episode is going to be all about business basics, because we know that's really where people struggle, in that balancing act of trying to grow a creative business with actually being creative. And sometimes it feels like one outweighs the other. And so kind of retraining our brain to think about, okay, how can I use my creative thinking skills to apply to business and like put my business hat on without writing a 50-page business plan document and still being creative. I think that's really where we want to merge that gap.
Yeah, I think so many people that we've talked to think that business is like something that they're not equipped to do. They're not allowed to be business owners because they didn't get like an MBA and they didn't go to business school. But it's way more accessible than it feels, and that's why we're here, to welcome you in to this world and help you learn the things that seem so not accessible right now.
And if you thought either one of us had an MBA, you would be wrong.
You'd be very wrong.
Yeah, very wrong. We are learning things on the fly.
Self-taught.
I like that. That could be
our intro.
I love it.
We are self-taught designers.
And that's true with
business people.
Design too. need a degree.
Yeah.
You can learn on your, there's so many ways to learn all these tools. And I think one of the best things is thinking creatively about business and
Yes.
figuring out how to do it differently from someone else.
Yeah. Use your creative hat.
That's great.
Put on your sorting hat. But
Your art business, sorry.
yeah, it took us 2 minutes to start talking about Harry Potter.
If you don't get the Office references, then
Get out.
Leave. You're not going to like this podcast.
It's our dream to be the Office ladies. Mm-hmm. So
we're both a little bit of each.
Yeah. We've had this discussion. Okay, so we'll stop mumbling.
I mean, that's what we're going to be doing.
I guess
It's
you're
just
going to be listening to us
gabbing.
mumbling.
But we're going to talk about business basics because I think one of the first things that people say to us is like, how do I make my business legit? And I'm always like, what the fuck does that mean? There's no like thing that is, okay, your business is legit. But there are a couple things that you do need to do so that you know, whatever the FBI doesn't come and like.
The FBI.
Who would it, the IRS. That's the one.
You just show up at your door. You forgot
Your
to file.
Okay, but for real.
All right, listen up. Tell me, what are the things that make your business, quote unquote, legit?
Absolutely. Well, the first one is you need a tax ID.
Ooh.
Yeah, and we have an EIN, and that EIN is basically like a social security card.
Yeah.
Or a social security number for your business. And it's easy to get one.
Super easy.
It's just like a number. And then when you sign all those paperwork things,
the forms.
That's
when you sign the forms.
Thank goodness you're here.
You know, I'm here.
You don't have to hand your social security number out to everyone, and then it also separates your personal identity from your business.
And that's what we want.
We want that. We want some separation.
Yes.
So an EIN, you're going to want to file for an EIN. And it doesn't matter if you're using your own name or if you're using a business name, but if you're using a business name, you're going to get a DBA.
Doing business as.
Love it. And even if you're doing your name designs or whatever, your name studio, still get a DBA because that means you are doing business as this. And so you can get checks from people signing it to that. And it, again, like creates that differentiation between your personal identity. But you don't need a formal business name. You can just go by your name. That's
so
fine.
if I'm just going to be Katie Johnson, then I don't file a DBA. If I'm going to be Katie Made That, which is my actual studio name, I am going to file a DBA.
It's a good idea.
And you file it with your local registrar.
Yeah. It's pretty easy.
All of these things kind of differ a little bit, like state to state, depending on where you are. All of this information is for the U.S.
Yeah.
By the way, I feel like we should give that caveat.
Yeah.
But yeah, so make sure that you look up your specific local rules. But these are the basic overview of what you need to like look up. Right.
And if you are like feeling still confused, like ask a local business person, ask your local, find a attorney locally, find a CPA. I would say reaching out to those people who know more than you is always going to be the first best step. But when we talk about that separation between your personal identity and your business, one of the best things and one of the first things I would do is separate your finances. And I don't care if you have the same name.
You'll love to hear it.
Just make a business account so that at the end of the year, when you have to do those taxes, you can look in your business account and say, this is all the money that came from my business. And then you can link them. They can be at the same bank and you can just transfer over the money every month or whatever.
Yeah.
But it makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
You can use QuickBooks, you can use Bench, you can use whatever you want. There's plenty of free ones like Wave. Use whatever service. And then I really would suggest getting a accountant, a CPA to do your taxes. It shouldn't be more than like, I think the most we saw was like $1,000 or something, but again, it's different everywhere. And that way you know someone is like making sure you're taking advantage of the things.
Yeah.
All the things. All the write-offs.
Yeah, taxes get a little more complicated when you start to bring this stuff in, and you got to bring in your Schedule Cs, and we won't bore you with all that stuff, and we also don't necessarily know it all like the back of our hand.
Yeah.
We hire people who know that stuff. But this is, even if you're doing this as a side hustle,
for
you really need to separate your business finances, or you're going to find yourself in quite a pickle.
Quite a pickle. I also think one of the benefits of separating them is that those birds are chirping. Yeah. is
Hope you can hear that.
you can quickly look in your account and be like, wow, this is all I brought in, or, oh, I didn't bring in as much as I wanted. It's just so much simpler than like going through your bank account and be like, oh, well, that's business and that's personal.
Yeah.
That's annoying. That doesn't sound like it would be a good idea.
Yeah, no, not good.
And the other thing when we're talking about pricing is I want everyone to know how much their money is, how much profit they're generating, so that they know if they're actually in the red, and they can say, here's how much I actually use to fund my business. Like, here's how much my paper costs. Here's how much this costs. Mm-hmm. It can get real easy to swipe that credit card and not remember all those costs. And when I was figuring out how much I needed to charge for my greeting cards, there were so many costs that I needed to figure out, like the ink for my printer, the cost of the printer, and like so many little things beyond my time that I needed to add up. And so having it all in one place is just like make your life easier.
Yeah, you really need to know exactly what all of your expenses are. Have it on a spreadsheet somewhere. We love a good spreadsheet here.
A dirty word.
It's a really, really nice word. Have it on a spreadsheet and really track your numbers, because that is really business. That is some business 101 stuff. Like, you don't have a business if you're not tracking those numbers and you're not trying to make a profit. Like, that's the whole point.
And then I think it also gives you an opportunity to look at your expenses and your income every year really easily, like with an app, and say, okay, my goal for next year is this. And if you don't see that, how can you possibly make a goal? I know when we sat down to do our finances, I threw out a number and you were like, well, did you look? Did you look at what we actually make and what you think is realistic? And then how are we going to get there? It's like all planning and building backwards.
Yes.
And if you're skipping that step, like, how can you work towards your goal?
Yeah. So once you do have like a number in mind that you want to get to, working backwards looks like saying, okay, these are the things that I'm going to sell. These are the services, and these are the prices that I'm going to price them at. Pricing's like a whole nother topic we'll have to go into. But you say, these are my numbers that I'm selling things at. This is how many I would have to sell each week, each month, each year. And then you figure out, how would I realistically get to this goal? And is this actually attainable, or do I need to like raise or lower my prices?
Totally.
So again, we bring out the spreadsheets for this. This is like spreadsheet city.
Yeah. And if you get to know us, I bet eventually you'll be able to tell which one of us makes the spreadsheets and which one of us looks at them. Maybe you can tell me. Okay, so all of this is really helping to build a strong foundation. And the truth is, there's no one size fits all for business. So we're going to share advice. We're going to share what works for us, maybe things that didn't work for us. But really, all of this is about creatively thinking what works for you. But the biggest thing, drum roll, I don't know, is how you're solving a problem for your customers. What solution are you creating, and how are you making their lives better? Even a greeting card is like so much more impactful than a $4 greeting card or an $8 greeting card or a 99-cent greeting card. It's connection and telling a story and reaching out to a friend and building relationships. And so that's really at the core. And if you can't answer those questions, which sometimes can be challenging, sometimes it's like not right in front of your face because it stemmed from somewhere else. It's like therapy it's like business therapy, you know? So that's what's going to be at the core of every good, successful business, and knowing that kind of inside and out.
Yeah, and you can either, kind of start with an idea, or you can start with an audience. Like if you already kind of know that there's an audience that you're a part of, and you know their pain points, and you can see like what kind of problems they're having, you can start from that direction and then create a product specifically for them. So there's a couple different ways you can go about it.
I think some of my favorite stories to hear are when a customer or a business owner is like, well, I did this thing and I realized I really struggled with this one part of this process. And then I thought maybe I can make a solution. And those are usually like the most impactful ones. And just that whole journey of building a whole business from this one problem turns into this, like, I don't know, Cinderella story.
Yeah. If you are interested in hearing those Cinderella stories,
I know what you're going to say.
How I built this.
Oh, okay.
Did you know that?
That's
or
not
did
what
you
I
think I was
was
going to do Seth Godin?
Neither of those
are my
things
two
are what I
go-to.
thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say Shark Tank.
Oh, I freaking love Shark Tank. That's a great one as well.
Yeah, I've only seen it like twice, but someone came on and they were sharing their story of the problem that they face in their everyday life.
That's great.
That they wanted to change. And it doesn't have to be this like colossal thing. It can just be, I wanted a greeting card that felt more heartfelt or felt more realistic or felt like talked about the thing I was going through that I didn't see there's no card for this.
Yeah.
And we've seen that done before, and it's way bigger than just that.
Yeah.
It's
Shark
pretty
Tank is a wonderful place to learn, and it's also hella entertaining.
Yeah.
It's a TV show. And
Where they put you in a tank with sharks.
Metaphorically. It's all a metaphor,
That's
people. It's people pitching business ideas, trying to get investors to invest in their businesses. And so they do talk a lot about like numbers and like it's a great way to kind of get your business basics and your entertainment. And then How I Built This is a podcast from Guy Raz with like NPR. And they talk to a bunch of businesses that are now like killing it and about their origin stories and all of that. So that's really cool. We're sending you away from our podcast already.
Come back though.
Yeah.
Come back. Okay, so really the big message there is like, do you know what your brand really stands for?
Yeah.
Beyond the material, beyond what's the real message? What's the real connection? What problem are you solving? And what makes you different than someone else is doing? Because if you think about businesses, there are tons of businesses that do the same thing, but they all do it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
No one can just copy your exact business.
It's a big topic to think about. So take a while, but then be able to condense it into if you probably heard an elevator pitch where if you're just like on an elevator stuck with somebody and they're like, what do? You can say in like 1 to 2 sentences, like, this is what I do.
Right. And say it with confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like something you're really proud of. So within that, we like to talk about a unifying artist statement. And that really is your sort of elevator pitch. And it's what you do and what brings you all together and how you would explain your business to someone with impact. It's really clear and concise and, again, confidence. Because I see so many people like, oh, I'm a designer. I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I guess.
Maybe. Kind of. Like, oh, I have a small business. Okay, throw that out.
Yeah.
I have a business. Here's what I do. And it really, if you can't speak confidently about it, like, what do you think someone is going to feel when you say that? They're like, oh, it's a business.
You want to think of something that people could like remember and share with their friends.
Yeah.
So when
no pressure.
Yeah, I know. So when
Make it go viral.
When they leave you, how are they going to explain what you do to other people? Are they going to have a hard time, or did you give them like a little nug, little nug that they can take away and pass on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people still use business cards, but like, you know,
my mom.
Okay. Great. We love that. Shout out to Monica. But yeah, it's like, you know, and online, how can you concisely communicate that to people? I think we spend a lot of time thinking about, you know, the pretty pictures and the beautiful product, but actually it's the messaging and the story behind it that really sells it. So I guess that's a good segue into actually marketing and selling yourself, which it's a doozy.
We love to sell ourselves.
Oh yeah. It's really hard. And I think
moving right along.
Okay, so Katie mentioned you can stem from this idea of like knowing your people or knowing the products that you want to create sort of first, like this idea or the people. But either way, you have to know your audience inside and out. But even like down to their core, like what memes would make them laugh.
Yeah.
And it's not always necessarily the same thing that makes you laugh. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the time it is, but it's an issue that you maybe once had that you don't have anymore, or it's in a struggle that bothers you too and you're figuring it out with them, or it's something that you're just like an expert at that maybe they're not. And so getting to know them from the TV shows that they might watch to the language that they like to how they want to be talked to for where they're hanging out. That's a big one. Are they on TikTok? Are they on Pinterest? Are they on Facebook? Like Instagram, that's the other one.
Just old people now.
I don't know.
Shout out if you're on Facebook.
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
Yeah.
What do you do? Wait, people probably say that about Instagram now too.
Yeah.
Ew, you're on Instagram? It's tough. Social media is like that's like a three-part episode. Yeah. But get to know them. And then my favorite thing is validating your ideas by asking them.
Yeah.
Like, would this be helpful to you? Or how would you fix this problem? Or, I don't know, just talking to them. Like, not just being like on the outside looking in, but like answering questions that they have and providing value, but also then listening to what they have to say. Yeah. Like, that's the game changer.
Yeah, listening, not guessing, asking, not assuming.
You know, it happens when you assume. Is that
Yeah.
quotable? Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, I feel like I just did it. We were in this program and they told us to do this thing called copy stalking. And the word stalking is like not so great. But the whole thing is basically you like go around to places that your audience is on the internet and you like copy and paste like questions that they have or like issues, like problems that they have, and you like put them in a spreadsheet and then you go back and look and like find themes or like see what comes up a lot, and that can be really helpful as well. We might just need to rebrand that as like copy
sleuthing.
Sleuthing. That's much nicer.
Is it?
That's much less creepy than stalking.
Yeah. So something that just brought up for me is like, if you see a business out there and you're like, that's exactly what I wanted to create, I think you can easily do this exercise, which is kind of what you're saying, but it's when you go and you see these other companies that are doing in this space that you want to be in. Like, let's say you're creating this is not related to our target demographic, but let's say you want to make like a probiotic drink. You're going to go to their sites and say, okay, here's how they're doing it. Okay, this is their approach, and kind of like reverse engineer it and then say, how can I do it different? What would I do differently if I was the CEO of their business and that's your business? It's kind of like when we learn to draw, like sometimes you learn to draw by tracing. And then you do it enough that you figure out, oh, well, my hand prefers to do this, or I prefer to add this color here. But you don't understand it until you've actually done it or walked a mile in their shoes or any of those metaphors. But I think if you were able to look at another company and say, well, here's the space that they're taking up, I actually would be taking up a different space because here's how mine would be different. I think that's a good exercise too. And really, when you pull all that information together, you're creating a marketing plan. How would you talk to them? Where are you going to hang out? What platforms? What social media circles? What networking events? What conferences? What threads, what, all of that thing, what influencers, all of that, I think really kind of comes together into your marketing plan. And we talk about putting a business plan together a lot, but I think there's kind of a stigma of like wearing a suit and saying, here's my 40-page.
Yeah. People know the words business plan, but most people don't know what goes in a business plan or like why you'd actually need it. But it is really useful.
Yeah.
And what you put in a business plan would be all your strategy and your planning and your financial plans that we talked about, your marketing plan that we talked about. You're going to put in your pricing and your services. You're basically just laying out like, this is what I'm going to make, or this is the service I'm going to provide. This is how I'm going to do it. This is who I'm going to do it for. And this is when I'm going to do it. And then you set your goals.
Right.
And
goals is a big one to include.
So yeah, there's like no cut and dry. You have to have this in your business plan.
Right.
And the end of the day, it's for you.
Right.
Unless you're trying to get investors, which you're probably not at this level.
And Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Just watch Shark Tank if you're trying to get investors.
No, but I think in addition to that, it's like if you were to want to step away from your business and tell someone and someone wanted to come take it over, it would be all the information they would need to know about what your goals are. And when we work on ours, I call it our business blueprint. And it's kind of like everything you would need to know about our business. And it has pretty much a rundown. And we're constantly adding to it. And it's not formal. It's just a great place where if I have a question on our voice or like, what decision do I think I would make? I kind of go back to that and say, okay, well, that's the voice that we talked about using. Does that feel in line with what I'm saying right now? And it's really helpful. And again, with that, all of that should have research about your competitors, which aren't competitors. They're part of your community. There's someone you can learn from. But also with, okay, well, my audience seems to hang out here. So that should be where my strategy is. So I think validating your idea, getting to know your customers, and then like learning everything about who they are, what they like, and how you can really dive in and solve that problem. Kind of like obsessing over them. Yeah. Like in a non-creepy way.
Yeah, we've said obsessing, we've said stalking.
Yeah.
We're kind of allowing some creepy behavior here.
Yeah. What do I do with that information?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Try to be as least creepy as possible whilst doing these things.
Yeah.
No, you're trying to make people's lives better.
Right.
So think about like being a stalker who really wants to make somebody's life great.
Like the opposite.
Yeah,
like
instead of trying to terrorize them, you're trying to like just put really great moments throughout their day. Like they're going to find a Tootsie Roll in the mailbox because you put it there.
I love that.
Because you knew they were going to the mailbox.
You know, what did we see the other day where we were like, oh, this is such a great way to... Was it like on their birthday, you got their birthday information, so they send you a gift, or like just something that goes to the next level. It's like surprise and delight.
Yeah.
That was
great at that.
That was a buzzword when I worked in corporate, and it was like, how can we surprise and delight our customers? They do this at Disney World, and they crush it. Like every hour or something, an employee has to surprise someone, like standing in line waiting for food with, we got this, it's on us, or like, there's this like, what's the sword, sorcerer in this?
Yeah. The sword
there's
and
like the
stone.
sword there, and there's a bunch of kids who come up and try and pull it out, and like once every day there's one time, but someone somewhere is watching, because like a bunch of adults will come up and try it and no adult ever gets it out, and then the kid always gets it. And I don't know if it's like just random, but it's just, oh my God, you made that kid's day. Or like just doing that and infusing it into business. Like these are human relationship skills. And if those aren't your skill set, then maybe that's where someone else comes into your business. And not that you need to grow your business to be 20 people or anything, but I think that's something you can learn from other people, is like, at the end of the day, you're still a human.
Yeah.
And creating a brand, especially a creative brand, I think that human connection is like chef's kiss.
And I think something that we need to talk about is like the uniqueness of being an artist in business, and the fact that like your differentiator isn't just the services you provide or the product you create, it's the style that you have and the voice that you have as an artist, which is something that's kind of unique from other types of businesses.
Totally.
And we've had to kind of figure out how to wrap our head around that, and the fact that like as artists we're human beings who have a lot of different interests and a lot of different like
And a lot of emotions.
And we like evolve over time. But we've really found that the more that you show your humanity and like embrace the really weird, unique things that make you you, and like if you do want to try something that's out of left field, it may feel like, oh, this is so weird for me to do, but it's like a really cool piece of character. And it's something that like people follow artists not just because of like the services they provide or the products that they make, but because of their
humanity.
Like they're interesting people, and people like fall in love with the person that you are.
Right.
And so I think it's really important to factor that into like you're allowed to evolve and change, and people really enjoy when you might surprise them with something.
It might be fun to take a brand that we know a lot of designers love and talk about why designers love it beyond just the product, right? It's not just the product. It's not just because it works. It's because I appreciate the brand. It's, why is this brand succeeding over another brand? And it's not always just because of the capabilities. It's because of the messaging. It's because of the marketing. It's because of the human connection. It's because of past experiences, storytelling. It's all those things rolled up into one. And I think because art is subjective, we get in our own head sometime about it, and it's hard to share it. It's vulnerable to share our work and expect people to buy it or buy into it or whatever, especially with social media, which again, that's like a 18-part episode that I'm sure we'll talk about plenty of times. But it's about finding those people that you really understand and can cater to and can like fall in love with your story.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty
so
intense.
I do have one more thing I want to circle back to when it's like getting into the nitty-gritty of making your business legit. One of the things we need to talk about is like your business structure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So two of the most popular ways that you're probably going to look at for structuring your business is a sole proprietorship or an LLC.
Yeah. This one, people are always saying to me, well, I need to sign up for an LLC right away, right? Like I need to do that right now. And they think it's like, if you don't have an LLC, you are not a legit business. And I just can't wrap my head around where this started from or why people feel that way.
Well, just because there's such a lack of transparency with like what is business? How do I business? And
how do
everybody's
I business?
like trying to like, I thought that there was like a way, like a exact way to do everything, and that I just needed to like find the like unlock the codes or like find the exact steps that I had to take.
Right.
And it's just not like that.
Not at all.
There's a lot of like fumbling and failing and all of that stuff. But this is one of the things that does make your business legit, just deciding on your structure. So sole proprietorship is the easiest type of business to start.
Guess what? You already have one.
Yeah, you probably already started. If you started accepting payments, you have a sole proprietorship. Congratulations!
You're a business owner.
Oh my God.
But the cool thing is that like, it's fine. It's great. There's nothing wrong with it. You are a business now. Like there's no badge of honor. There's no certificate. There's no filing. You are a sole proprietorship. And if you're working alone, it's a great option.
Yeah.
The downside is that your business and your personal you as a human are not separated.
Yeah, you're commingled.
Yeah, which like you are your business, but you've set up your EIN to separate you. You've set up your business bank account, so you do know how to separate them. But the LLC is how you would formally separate them if you need to, which not everyone does.
Yeah. So sole proprietorship, if somebody sues you, they can. There's not.
They're suing you.
They're suing you as a person. There's not like a blanket of protection between like your business assets and your personal
like that blanket of protection.
Yeah, between.
Is it warm?
Yeah, it's like fur, not real fur. We don't like real fur.
Of course.
It's fake fur and sparkles.
Ooh, you know those ones that are like the sequins down and the sequins.
Oh yeah,
maybe it's one of
like
those.
that.
That wouldn't be soft though. So
yeah. Okay, back to business.
Can you tell I have children? Oh my god.
So sole proprietorship is good if you're like starting out, you want something really easy. You can always change it.
You can always go up.
You can upgrade yourself to an LLC. And to do that, it's different for every state, which is really fun.
Yeah, really fun.
So every state has like a different registration process.
Yeah.
And like in some states, it's really costly. In some states, it's really cheap.
And when we say really costly, we don't mean like $20,000.
Relative.
Yeah, it's
like,
all relative.
It could be like $1,000, whereas like in another state it's like 200 or something like that. So LLC also requires more paperwork. So this is where you'd probably want to involve a lawyer, which we did when we created our LLC, because there's like, it's basically like a binder of information they have to really come up with, and like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, and the benefit is that you separate your business from your personal assets, so you're protected, but you really have to ask yourself, do I need that yet, or do I need that right now, or do I need that at all? So my freelance work is still a sole proprietorship because I'm doing freelance work. No one's going to, knock on wood, I guess, but I don't foresee anyone suing me for, I have been to small claims court, but like, no one's going to be like, you ruined my life by designing this thing that I don't like. Whereas, with our LLC, we have employees, we have contractors, we have liability as a business. And if you're selling a product, like especially in the baby space or in like the potentially could harm someone, like babies, I know, food, you probably do want an LLC because there's a whole other layer of how people interact with your product. Yeah. With a greeting card, it's like, what, are they going to get a paper cut and sue you? Like it's not foul in any way. And so, you probably foul language, like it's not going to hurt someone. Like, whereas, if you're selling sharp objects, you're definitely going to want an LLC or more than that. And so those are the two basic business structures.
Sharp objects.
Yeah, I don't know. Just trying to think of all the things that people might be like.
I see where you're going with this.
I always try and think about how someone could come at me for saying something. And like, I know I can't ever please everyone, but running a huge community, we could use the wrong typeface on something and they'll be like, screw you.
Oh, yeah. People get all sorts of their
which is fine.
In a twist.
That's totally fine. Like, you like what you like. But I just try and think about, well, if you make this statement that's so black and white, the people who sell sharp objects are going to be like, well, my greeting cards are a double-edged sword with, what are those flamethrower things, They're going to want to be protected. You're like, what is this tangent that you're going on? Cut it. But yeah, so I think an LLC is appropriate when, talk to a local CPA, talk to your lawyer. If you can't find an attorney, I feel like everyone's like, how do I find one? Like, Google.
Yeah. That's how we found ours. We searched for creative attorney, Austin, like somebody who specialized in creative was really important to us. And we found the most wonderful, wonderful person.
And we also found a sign outside the store the other day that said, like, calling freelancers. And what did it say? It was like one of those tear-off signs with a phone number.
Yeah, it was just like, we want creatives and like general good people to help with their taxes. And then it was like a take a number thing.
Yes, it was so good. We're definitely calling.
Yeah. I'm like, either this is the most brilliant thing or like the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
And we just said that this person is local to Austin, but I actually live in New York and Katie lives here in Texas. And I've worked with that same lawyer for things in New York or virtual. And so it's really just do some digging and also asking referrals, like ask a local agency, do they have a reference? References are my favorite way to get anything. It's the original influence, right? It's like an influencer, but you ask someone who you trust locally, hey, where did you find this person, or do you have someone you recommend? That's for me like way more important than someone online doing, I found this cup I love, you should buy it. Like Okay, cool. I mean, that definitely, I've bought cups for sure that way. But
When
you know.
I first started out in business, though, and people were telling me, like, not hook up with a lawyer.
CPA.
Go find a CPA, go find a lawyer. I was like, I immediately, like, shut off my ears.
You're like,
I was
I don't know
well,
what that
can't
means.
afford that. No, I can't afford that, is
yeah.
what I thought. But if I had, like, any tips for, like, a new business owner, or, like, I could go back and tell myself something when I first
You
started
can
out,
afford a
is,
CPA.
like... is like, not just you can afford it, but you need to shift your mindset, because that money is going to come back in your business in other ways.
You cannot afford to not have one.
Yes.
Like,
it is so much more stress and so much more difficult to try and navigate that stuff yourself. Like, I'm trying to send you the waves of, like, do this for yourself. You're going to freaking appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I think our attorney has come in handy on so many more conversations than just how do we handle this, or what does this term mean, or can you help us with a contract, but more in the, like, educating us so that we feel more confident in doing something next time. And also with the CPA, like, QuickBooks has a free version, Wave has a free version.
Yeah,
like,
I did it myself for a while.
Yeah, you can do it
until
yourself.
I just hated my life enough.
And I love the idea of doing something long enough to know how to delegate it to someone else so you appreciate their value. But I think you can't afford to not have your ducks in a row. Yeah. Like, that will come back and bite you in the butt.
Mm-hmm. Those ducks are going to bite your butt.
Oh, yeah. Quack, quack, motherfucker. Have you seen the duck that, like, ran the New York City Marathon?
You bring that up.
Yeah.
It's like, cute. On your mind a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's cute.
Should we summarize?
I think we should. So we kind of talked about the foundation of a business, the things that make you quote unquote legit. Yeah. And I think we sprinkled some advice in there about mindset, about tools. We dropped some resources for sure. But really it's about creating a plan that works for you. Yeah. And, like, isn't someone else's business plan.
There is not one size fits all business plan.
Right. And I think
it doesn't exist, sadly.
We'll talk about all of these things throughout our conversations with people and with each other. And I guess the main bullet points would be, like, if you're just starting, or if you've started and you haven't done this yet, like, get an EIN.
EIN.
It's way too simple not to have one.
Employee identification number, employer identification number.
Yeah. So get one of those. Get a DBA if you're not using your full name, and set up a separate banking account. It shouldn't cost any money to set up a separate business account, and then use some app to track that, or use a spreadsheet if you're like, I don't have enough expenses, I just want to keep it simple. Just separate those two things. And then, I mean, I guess my next one would be get a CPA, because it does not cost that much to have a CPA help you with your taxes. I did mine for the first, like, 10 years, and I just used, the platforms online, and I learned, like, what goes into doing it. So I think that was helpful.
Decide if you want to be a sole proprietor or an LLC. Yeah. And you can always start with sole prop and upgrade yourself to an LLC later.
Yeah. And then with that, really, once you start to talk about your business and really dive into that and, like, work on your business plan, figuring out what problem you're solving, who you're helping, how you're changing lives, like, legit.
How you're changing lives.
No, but, like, it is. It's so much more. I definitely started my greeting card company thinking, oh, well, I'm just, like, making really pretty cards. And, like, I didn't feel like I had a purpose behind it. And then I learned, like, the impact of a greeting card and the impact they had on me. And it took some digging, like, some deep therapy work, basically. And it's so much more than that. And then learning your audience so well that you know exactly what's going to resonate them. And sometimes you're gonna flub it up. Yeah. Sometimes you're gonna be like, oh, that didn't hit right.
Yeah, that's an important part of running a business is flubbing it.
I love that. I love it. Just learning from falling on your face.
We've flubbed it quite a few times.
I mean, we're
better for it.
We are. Our first promo that we ever did, we spelled the main word wrong. It was wrong.
Like, take our course on licensing.
That's what it used to sound like growing up. Like, I said my Z's and S's. I really struggled, but
people made fun of us in the comments, and we didn't realize that at first. They were like, licensing, and I was like,
I thought it was all with kindness, though, right?
No.
Okay. Okay.
They were kind of sassy about it.
I mean-
but once I realized it, I was like, oh my God, that is so humiliating.
I would really rather someone point that out, though, than...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
but-
I once pointed out to someone that they had spelled stationery wrong, and they, like, ghosted me. And I was like, honey, I'm just trying to help you.
One that people do incorrectly.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But it also makes me laugh pretty hard when I...
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, you can do something as big as spelling your course name
You'll be
wrong.
fine.
People will still sign up.
It's fine. Yeah, they'll still sign up.
Eventually.
Anyway, so we covered those business basics, and I think the core takeaway is that if this sort of thing scares you, which it does for so many people, remember that you are a creative. Mm-hmm. So use that creative skill set and kind of shift to think, how can I creatively approach this? And also do your research. Do that sleuthing, that little, what did you say, a cheetah?
Yeah.
Yeah, get in there and
prompting.
Yeah, get in there and evaluate what other people are doing and reverse engineer it, and then write down your goals. Write down your goals so that you know what you're working towards, and then how are you going to get there?
Yeah, reverse engineer. Bring out your spreadsheets. Bring out your planner.
Okay, so we are going to be doing this bi-weekly. Mm-hmm. We're going to have some kick-ass.
Not twice a week, but every other week.
Do people think bi-weekly is twice a week?
I think it could be both ways. Like, I've had this issue before.
Oh, okay. Okay, I never thought of that before. We're doing this every other week for now. We're going to have some amazing guests we have lined up for the year.
We've got the Pope coming. We've got...
You said that so serious. Okay.
I thought even you were like, do we? Did you?
You know the Pope?
Yeah.
We don't. We have some really awesome people, though, coming on, and we'll talk to them about type. We'll talk to them about their careers. We'll talk to them about business. We'll talk to them about cheese. I don't know.
We'll have tea with them. This isn't normal, by the way. I am not a tea drinker.
Katie just discovered tea for the first time. She'd never had it before.
I've had tea. This one's like chocolate. We think it's chocolate raspberry. It's so good.
If someone can identify this satchel of tea.
Can you smell this?
Okay, so in the meantime, if you want more resources from us, we've got a ton on goodtype.us. We have a Discord channel that anyone can join and introduce yourself.
And bring your mom.
Bring your mom. We'd love to meet her. And introduce yourself, share your work, do a shameless plug in the critique and submissions, and
no nudes.
No nudes allowed. No nudes allowed. We prefer to keep it
PG.
I mean,
ish.
No. I mean, this is explicit.
Whoa, the tea's coming back.
Anyway, and then some of the things that might help you along the way might be on our website. We have the contract kit. We have Price with Purpose. We like
things to help you with contracts, things to help you with pricing, things to help you with art licensing.
Licensing.
Art licensing. We're really smart about art licensing.
I mean, I had a lisp, and that's exactly how I would have pronounced it. So,
that's cute.
It is pretty cute. I love a lisp. So in the Discord, there's opportunities to connect with other creatives who are in the same boat, and tag us in your work on Instagram. We'd love to see it.
At Goodtype.
Yep, or use the handle?
Hashtag.
What did I just say? Oh my gosh, use the hashtag Goodtype. Mm-hmm. Strength and well, I'd like Goodtype.
Yeah, let's do hashtag Goodtype.
Yep. And then we'll see you back here.
Yeah, hope you liked us. Okay, that's enough for today. Thank you all, and good night.
Bye. See you later.